on down Main Street. You're relaxed and feeling good. Next thing that you know, you see it.
Hello, are you Mr. Joe Borson?
Yes, I am. How are you?
I'm alright. I've been looking at some of your medical files and it says here that you've been feeling a little sick lately. Can you tell me a little bit about the symptoms and how you're feeling?
Oh, yes, definitely. Well, first of all, I've been having a lot of trouble sleeping lately, and because of that, I think I'm very fatigued in the morning. Additionally, I've been having some trouble breathing, so I'm a little bit scared.
That doesn't sound too good, Joe. Is there anything else you can tell me, maybe about your lifestyle, your hobbies, what you do for a living?
Hi, well, I am a 200-pound, 43-year-old, beautiful, handsome man. I am an executive director at McDonald's, and I like to eat there as often as possible, maybe 2-3 times a week, in order to really support the business, because, you know, we're all on the same level.
Well, that's not a healthy practice. Are there any other unhealthy practices that you engage in, like smoking?
Well, yeah, I do smoke. I'm a pack-a-day smoker, but, you know, they say it's hard to put it down because it'll come chase you if you put it away.
And how often did you say you ate at McDonald's?
Probably maybe 2-3 times a week. I usually get maybe a Big Mac and a large meal. It's very delicious. It's very good.
I understand. I can't really say I blame you with the way these fast food businesses have been advertising their cheap, delicious food. It's kind of hard not to get it, you know. But anyways, using the information that you provided me and more information about your lifestyle, I think it's safe to say that habits like yours are leading to plaque buildup inside your arteries. At least that is what I suspect. So if I don't go in there and clear it up, you might have an increased risk of getting a heart attack, or maybe even an increased rate of getting a heart disease. So luckily for you, I've been working on an experiment with a shrinking ray I've acquired recently, and if I go inside of it, I can identify the artery that's being blocked with plaque. You remember the Magic School Bus show?
Yes.
So, well, basically, using the machine I've made, I'll be able to shrink into your body, I'll be injected into one of your veins, and then I'll follow the path of blood throughout your body to hopefully find the artery that is filled with plaque. Would you be interested in such a procedure?
Oh, definitely. Please, I really don't want to die.
Alright, sounds like a plan.
Thank you so much.
My associate here will help you in the preparations. I'm going to get my shrinking ray ready, and then we'll take it from there.
Definitely. I'll be ready. I'll stay here.
Here we are entering the epidermis layer of the skin. As you can see, there are various layers to the epidermis, with many stratified squamous epithelium and keratinized cells. After we pass through the stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum, we reach the deepest epidermal layer called the stratum germinativum, also known as the layer where new cells are generated and begin to grow. What you see here is a melanocyte, something common in the stratum germinativum. These melanocytes synthesize melanin that colors the epidermis and protects the body from ultraviolet radiation. Now we are passing through the basement membrane and are entering the dermis. The dermis has two distinct layers, the papillary layer and the deeper reticular layer. The papillary layer, which is what we are passing through now, consists of various loose connective tissue that supports and nourishes the epidermis, especially since there are no blood vessels in the epidermis, so they need dermal blood vessels to receive their nutrients. Now we are reaching the deeper reticular layer, which is, as you can see, an interwoven mesh of dense irregular connective tissue with several elastic and collagen fibers. Enough of that, we're almost there to the vein. Here is the hypodermis layer, which is essentially a network of connective tissue fibers that plays an important role in stabilizing the position of the skin relative to the skeletal muscles and the underlying tissue and organs. As you can see, there are many fat cells here, which serve as an energy reserve and shock absorber for activity. Oh, we are close to entering the vein. We're almost there. Alright guys, so we're in the femoral vein right now, on our way to the inferior vena cava, and eventually to the heart. But while we're traveling, let's discuss blood. Blood is a connective tissue which has four major components: red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and the plasma of the blood. So blood appears red to us because of the many red blood cells, which carry oxygen and other nutrients to the other living tissues of the body. The white blood cells are important because they fight off foreign substances and pathogens. The platelets are important when we get cuts or abrasions because they help in the blood clotting process, and the plasma of the blood is what gives our blood the liquid texture it has. Oh, here we are. We're about to enter the right atrium. The right atrium is one of the 4 chambers of the heart, and deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium until it is pumped into the right ventricle. Oh, here we go. As we are trying to enter the right ventricle, we must pass through the broad opening bounded by 3 flaps of fibrous tissue. This is known as the tricuspid valve, and it prevents blood flow into the right atrium. We have now entered the right ventricle and are about to be pumped into the pulmonary arteries so we can reach the lungs. First, we must pass through the pulmonary semilunar valve, also known as the pulmonary valve, which guards the entrance to the pulmonary trunk. Now we are in the pulmonary trunk and we can flow into left or right pulmonary arteries to get into the respective lungs to be oxygenated again. Let's go to the left pulmonary artery into the left respective lung. Here we have entered the lung of Mr. Borson. I remember that he mentioned he is a smoker, and we can really see that through this depiction of his lungs. Cigarette smoke contains many dangerous chemicals that interfere with the body's method of filtering air and cleaning out the lungs. This smoke irritates the lungs and leads to the overproduction of mucus, which ends up paralyzing the cilia, which are tiny hair-like structures that line the airways and clean out dust and dirt. Paralysis of the cilia means mucus and toxic substances can accumulate, resulting in congestion of the lungs. And this extra mucus means smokers are more likely to suffer from chronic bronchitis and something known as the smoker's cough. Cigarette smoking is one of the most common triggers of asthma. When people suffer from asthma, their inflamed air passages, which are very sensitive, tend to narrow when exposed to cigarette smoke. This can cause an asthma attack and make it difficult to breathe, something that's characteristic of Mr. Borson's recent behavior. The lungs are also the place where the exchange of oxygen occurs in the body, so deoxygenated blood cells are now replenished with oxygen and can get carried back to the lungs. Now here we go, we're going to re-enter the left atrium and go through the bicuspid valve and end up in the left ventricle. Notice how the walls are a lot thicker than that of the right ventricle, and this is due to the significantly larger amount of pressure that the ventricle must endure, since this is where blood is sent to the rest of the body. Lastly, let's follow this blood through the aortic valve and into the aorta, and then to the rest of the body. Now I'm in the aorta, so the next artery I go to is kind of a guessing game. I think we should start with the brachiocephalic artery next. I'm in the brachiocephalic artery, and guess what I found? This must be the plaque that's been giving him so many issues. I think I gotta go out there and unshrink myself now and tell him how to deal with this. Alright, Mr. Joe Borson, I'm back. So as you saw, there is some plaque buildup in your arteries, but I don't think there's enough to perform some advanced medical procedure to get rid of it. However, there are a lot of there's some advice I could give you in terms of a nutritionist standpoint. The first thing I would say is to stop smoking, because that's restricting your blood vessels and that's making it harder for your cells to get oxygenated, and it's also affecting your lungs that we saw when I went into the lungs. Another thing you could do is, and I know you haven't mentioned it before, but living a more healthy lifestyle in terms of exercise. If you exercise more, it'll help you get rid of the unnecessary weight you put on. You'll look better, and it'll help eliminate the fat reserves you have in your body. Managing your stress is equally important. You're a corporate executive officer for McDonald's. You obviously have a lot to worry about, but maybe engaging in some meditation once in a while will help you loosen yourself up a bit and maybe even lower your blood pressure a little bit. So, but the number one advice I can give you is, and I know you're a chief executive officer of McDonald's, you have to refrain from eating at McDonald's. You know, maybe instead of eating twice a week, you eat once or twice a month, and that'll help you, because when you eat these fatty foods, not only does the fat build up, but you also get a lot of bad cholesterol, low LDL cholesterol, and the buildup of that contributes to the buildup of plaque in your arteries. So we got to prevent that, from increasing. Otherwise, unfortunately, you will need surgery. But hopefully, if you follow this advice over time, you'll see that you'll have less trouble breathing. You will hopefully shed a few pounds, look better, and you'll live a healthier life. So,
Thank you so much.
Thank you
You've
for your
changed
time.
my life.